Alright, so guys, just want to give you a little run through about the Arccos golf system that we'll have at Scout Open Golf this year. Give you a little bit of a knowledge about your game and what you're doing on the golf course. So here's a round I was able to play last week. This is at the Trent Jones Trail in Alabama. And so you can see, first off, just at the main score page here, we can see my handicap. Um, Overall is a 1.4, and first round of the year, I'll take that. But driving, I actually drove it like a plus 2.4. My approaches plus 4.2. My chipping was a plus 5.7. Now you can see my putting was like an 8.4, and my sand game was like a 30 handicap. Okay, so you can see the short game, sand and putting was the part of the game that struggled the most, which might be expected as you come out for a first round of the year. But anyway, it gets a good chance to see it, and it's actually quite surprising because I actually made some putts in the round, so it's kind of cool to again see what you actually did in the round to be able to see what I got to work on. So I would not have thought my driver was as good as it was, and my putting was needed to be worked on as much as it does. So that's kind of the valuable part about it. Now, if we go into the actual round here, you'll see I can actually go back through, see the round, going through the course. And this actually will be cool because this is actually a course they're playing the LPGA in May on. So kind of watch and see what they do. But what I really like is as you go through the scorecard, down here, there's stats on the PGA Tour known as strokes gained. And basically, it'll tell you how well you do. So any of these darker green circles means I hit an above average shot with that club from that distance. Any of the gray to you can get some pink ones. That means I hit a really below average shot from that distance with that club. So, the more greens, the better. And if you have any grays, you want to start looking at, okay, what do I want to look at? So for me, again, a lot of the putts are grays, not very many of the dark greens. And then, even some of the wedges, my 60-degree, getting some greens, but looks like they could be a little bit closer to the hole as we go. So you can do that throughout the entire round. Again, you can recap your entire round. This was one where I actually had a penalty, drove it into this bush here, and then actually three-putted on top of it. So that would be something I could look at and say, hey, how could I remove that from my round? But one of the cool parts, too, it'll take from your round your clubs, and it'll tell you basically your distances you're hitting them. So my smart distance with my driver was 289, 259 with the 3-wood, all the way down. And you can actually go back and see where you hit those clubs at. So we're going to look at an interesting one here was an 8-iron and 9-iron, where you can see actually my 9-iron is going farther than my 8. And so I can look at, okay, what holes did I use them on? And so I'll go back, and I know specifically this hole right here was 168. It was straight downwind. I did pull the shot as well. As you can see, I missed a little left of the green. But yeah, it was very, very much so downwind when I hit that shot. So I can factor that into the distance I hit it. And this one as well was very, very downwind, and was trying to factor that in as well. So you can go back through and kind of make some deductions about your game. I do like when you click on a club, you get all of your stats about that club on the left side here. So that's very cool. And then when you go back to the clubs, you can kind of get a range of where you were hitting them. So now, again, this is only my first round, so I've only hit them one time. Basically, it's saying what's your long and short with that club. So I did happen to get a driver 300 yards, so I can get it out there. And it just depends. But you can go with your longest ones as well. You can also see what clubs you're hitting greens with. So that's a really cool thing. And then you can also see how many times you're using it. And I think this is a good deal because you can actually start grouping clubs. Because you see I hit my driver 13 times, but all the clubs with the wedges and 9-irons, 6, 10, 11, 16. So more shots there, plus I can go through and say, hey, my putter, I had 32 putts in this round. I can start to say, hey, inside of 120 yards or so, I hit X amount of shots. In this case, more than half of my shots were from the inside of 120 yards. So, really cool way to kind of break it down. Um, really cool way to break down everything, and you can start seeing here as I get more rounds, I actually will get handicaps that will break down based on what my handicap is, and then it will actually compare to what it should be, okay, for my skill level. So I can start to see where I need to work on everything. Again, we got a little driving accuracy. Um, one time I missed it right, but I missed four of them left of the fairway. And that's very accurate for me. I do fight going left, but again, you can kind of see it and break it down and know for sure what's going on. So, um, very very cool tool. One I'm excited to use. So if you're interested in using it, give me a shout and we'll get you set up. It's a great tool to get started off on the year to know exactly what's going on.